So yeah, I mean, I've got just a few questions for you. Né? How would you, let's say, who is Flex?
Okay. Born Phomolo first and foremost, in the Free State, on the border of Lesotho. You know, I'm an artist, spoken word artist, event organizer, curator, musician, band leader. And if I'm not doing that stuff, I'm overthinking, and I'm trying to hide, but I'm also trying to be visible. So essentially, that's who I am. Yeah.
Okay, because like now you mentioned you an event organizer. Okay, yeah. I didn't know about that part.
Yeah.
So like, when did that one start?
Yeah, man. So when you're part of a movement, right? There are many hats that you need to wear. So you're a performer, but you're also organizing behind the scenes. Yeah. So in my early days, I was a part of Street Poet Society, and it wasn't just about us organizing. So we hosted performers, so we needed to organize it. So that's where it started, but obviously it has evolved into organizing as part of our NPO, Hear My Voice. And we organize a lot of events. We create a lot of platforms, uncensored platforms for poets. And if I'm not doing that, I'm organizing my own gigs. So to organize is, in this instance, is not limited to putting together an event, but to organize for the band, for the brand, the stuff that we do together.
Yeah.
So I think about that as organizing, because there are a lot of things that we need to do other than just perform. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now I get it, because like looking at what we've been working on, and like the small projects that we've done and your projects. So now it kind of like makes sense. Like, okay, the event organizing part.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now, if you explain to the people your art form, how would you explain it to someone who doesn't know you?
Cool. So I think on the surface, it is music, it is spoken word, it is a combination of poetry and music. But I think beyond that, especially when you come to our events, you realize that beyond the music and beyond the spoken word, it's an experience. I'm very conscious about the detail, about where to have the events, about what happens outside of the music. Even when you're chilling at home, when you think about Flex of Here and I, how does that make you feel? I'm very pedantic, I suppose, about those small details, because I realize what we do now will count for something, even in the future, even when we're looking at now in retrospect. So I think Flex of Here and I is an experience. It's an African experience of music, of taste, of storytelling. Even the lyrics or the poems that we write, these are stories that I used to be told when I was young. If you think about the music, if you think about the chorus, a lot of the time it's in our mother tongue. So that is the experience that is being offered.
Cool.
Yeah.
See, that's like the first time I hear you explaining it like that into perspective, because like I've been working with you, like okay, I had the privilege of like, okay, I am there, I experienced everything, but now listening to what you're saying, like actually just makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Also because doing something is much easier than explaining it. Trying to find the language and the vocab to explain to people what it is that you do. I think it's a very difficult thing. Sometimes you just hope people can experience it for themselves, and then they can give it words. So words are a very difficult thing to formulate and to put together. When you're put on the spot to speak about something, I think it's a bit more difficult than to just be in the space and be about a particular thing. So I am aware and I'm conscious of the fact that you need to speak about what you do, you know, but deep down I just hope that people will get it. And sometimes you need to like meet them halfway and try to explain it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just really hope that music speaks for itself. What people see is a reflection of who we are.
Yeah.
So that they see it and they get it, and we don't have to do much explaining. Yeah.
Yeah. So like that makes perfect sense because like as a photographer, sometimes they would ask me like, "What type of photography do you do?" You know,
Yeah, yeah.
and it gets to a point where like, okay, I kind of like tired of explaining. Okay, check my portfolio. This is what I do, and from where you see what I do, then you can actually look at, okay, this is what Lifa does. Okay, maybe I can use him for 1, 2, and 3. So like when you see something or when you experience something, it's totally different from when someone is explaining it.
Yeah, exactly. And I wonder if we actually do the actual work justice by trying to explain it, you know?
Yeah.
Sometimes I think we are better off just not saying anything. Yeah.
I hear you.
Yeah.
And the other question, I'm sure like a lot of people have asked you this, like what inspires you?
What inspires me?
Yeah.
A lot of things, man. A lot of things. I think no's, rejections inspire me because I think they give us impetus, you know. I think there was a point in life where a no and a yes meant the same thing for me. If I apply for something or if I reach out to someone for something, if they say yes, it's great because a door opens. But if they say no, it's impetus and motivation for me to try and make it happen. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm inspired by the polarity between a yes and a no, because ultimately it's balance. It's the same thing. You need white, you need black. So I'm inspired by that. I'm inspired by what we represent as black people. You know, it's almost as though we are designed to overcome. We are designed to get over adversity to create something beautiful, you know. So I think what we do with the music is that there's a lot of noise, and what we try to do with the noise is we try to manipulate the noise into something strange and beautiful. And that's how I think about life, you know. There's all of these things, but what are we doing with all of these situations? There is a famous line that has been making the rounds. Never let a pandemic go to waste, you know. So never let a bad situation go to waste. The reason why we reflect the times and why we comment on sociopolitics is because it's like a timestamp. We are here. When someone listens to Fallism, they'll know that in 2016 or in 2021, you know, students of a particular geographical location were going through this thing. Fees must fall. Well, that is our job as artists, to talk about our experiences, and when we are no longer here, for people to refer back to the music and know what it is that we're going through. So I'm inspired by just, you know, having a voice and being able to tell stories. That was long, wasn't it?
Yeah, I know. Like, at least it puts everything into perspective, because like this conversation is just to open up. And actually let people know, you know, like, who are you? Like, what inspires? Because like as artists, sometimes we tend to not tell people what inspires us, but they receive the work. Like if you know where the artist is coming from, and then you receive their work, then you fully understand the whole balance between what inspires them, why did they create, what they're creating now. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things. And then to deviate just a bit, the coffee thing, like, what's that about?
So I like coffee. I don't like this word. I like coffee because it's ritualistic, right? So my aspiration is to travel, you know. So if you take coffee with you and you wake up in the morning and you have a ritual, there's something that you do, even if you're 12,000 Ks away. If you do the same thing, then you're still rooted to home in a way, you know.
Yeah.
I also like the process of coffee bean to cup, and I liken that to me as a musician. So first it's the bean. Okay, well, first it's the tree, it's the bean, it's the roasting of the bean, and then it's the grinding of the bean, and then obviously it's, you know, making the coffee. Those are very different things, but they're all a part of a process for someone else to enjoy a cup of coffee, you know. So with music, there's a lot, you know, we could look at it the same way. You write the poem, or you create the melody first, and then you need to complement that melody with a poem or a rap or whatever, you know. So just that process and the different steps of creating something, I think I like that as an extended metaphor for what I do. But also coffee is like good.
Yeah, because like you see now, I think like everything you do complements each other. Like from music to coffee, and how you deal with your creative process.
Yeah.
And my last question now is, how would you summarize your creative journey? Like, how is your experience, if I may put it that way? If like,
yeah, I think it's very difficult to speak about a journey and speak about summations in the same breath, you know, because I think the outcome is dope. You know, we have visions of seeing ourselves at a particular place, but just being a part of the journey, I feel privileged that I'm able to wake up and do what I like. I mean, I do a whole lot of other things, you know. I think I'm a multidisciplinarian, if that is a word, you know, but I think just to be able to wake up and do what I do at my own time, at my own pace, is why I enjoy it. There are no pressures to create anything. Sometimes I write when the poem comes to me. I don't write because I'm commissioned to do work, even though when you are commissioned to do work, then you need to write at that particular time. But for me, it's much more enjoyable because there's no pressure to release anything at a particular time. I do it because I want to, you know. So the journey is nice in that regard, but it's also difficult because we live in a time where you constantly need to show up, you know. And again, I was talking to you earlier about being visible and invisible at the same time. Sometimes you don't want to show up. Sometimes you want to like go on tour, come back, kick your feet up, and do that on your own terms. And for me, that is the journey. That's what I'm working towards, just doing things on my own terms.
All right, that's very, I can say, enlightening on my side.
Yeah.
Like, because I know like we've been working together.
Yeah.
We've been sharing ideas.
Yeah.
And now just getting this part and being able to share it with the people.
Yeah.
I hope when someone is listening to this or they're watching it, you know, it opens like, you know, that bridge to like, okay, being a creative, sometimes you don't have to put pressure on yourself, because like the industry, this is what they need, you know, because you're doing stuff on your own terms, your time, and giving people who you are, you know. Yeah.
On that same note, I think when you do things on your own terms, it's because you have sort of developed a palette for what you like, right? Yeah. So there's a different kind of dope. I know dope is a very it determines a lot of things, but I realize now like there are different kinds of dope. There are musicians or poets that are like extremely dope in terms of like competing, but there's someone that has been consistent, and for me that is dope. You know, I look at a Tustin Clear, for example, like he's very dope for me because he continues to do this, you know, and he's been doing it for so long. And then there's someone that relies on his art to make him a better human being, you know, and for me that is dope. And that is not necessarily someone that wins everything, you know. So I also appreciate the different dopeness, you know, within the same sphere or the same spectrum. So I think when you develop a palette and you identify what it is that you want and what you like, then subsequently that allows you to do things how you want to do them.
Yeah. Damn. Yeah. Okay. But I think this is going to be a wrap.
Dope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a short, long conversation because I know like some of these conversations, I know they take days because like we break down things like differently. I hope what we shared today, it's gonna, you know, enlighten or, you know, share a perspective of what people they didn't know about you. I know like most people didn't know, but to the other people that, you know, they've seen your work through my work, now get to know like, okay, who is Flex?
Yeah, and I think our collaboration is another conversation, you know.
Yeah.
But that's not what this is about.
Yeah, no. That I think we'll need to put it on a different note.
Yeah.
So today was just basically like an introduction to this project that I'm doing, like where I'm basically going to be having conversations like this with different creatives. So I'm not bounding it to photography. I'm not bounding it to music. It's any creative. Like one day maybe I might be sitting with a chef. I'll be asking about the creative process, like, okay, what does it mean, you know, like for them to do what they do? Because like I feel like as artists we have different ways of expressing ourselves. So with the tools that we have today and the skills that we have, you know, attained over the years, it's what's going to help us deliver the message and document the stuff. Because like the one thing which broke me is a lot of artists, they have work but they never document the stuff behind it. You know, we never document enough. Yes, we do take pictures and this and that, but do we have the detailed documentation? Like, okay, this is how I do my work. This is who I've collaborated with. This is what inspires me. Like, as what you shared it, like how you shared it now. It's like some kid somewhere in the future, they're going to be looking at this like, oh, so this is how he did it. Because I know right now we're facing social pressure. You know, people are doing this, people are doing that, and you feel like you're left out. You're getting the FOMO. You know, like some of us, it's like, I know, I'll wait. You know, because sometimes I believe like do what you love, and someone out there will pick it up. Because I know we cater for different palettes, like as you mentioned, like what you're doing. Someone might like it, someone might not. You know. Yeah, so I think this space is going to open up a lot of conversations.
Yeah, definitely, man. Yeah, and all the best with this particular project.
Thanks, man.
I'm looking forward to hearing the other conversations, actually, because there is a thread, you know, amongst artists and creatives who are chaotic. So I'm looking forward to hearing that chaos.
Cool, Flex. Let's chat another time. And yeah, this is it.
Peace.
This was cool.
Peace, man. Thank you for swinging by.